officially started the podcast, which is called Sting of Time, and we've done 27 of these. And the point of them, allegedly, is to watch The Scorpion King 52 times, and we've watched it 27 times now. And we have a guest stuck in the middle
Yes.
That's
who
me.
yeah. But before we introduce the guest, I should introduce myself. I'm Oskar, and and one of these two other people is Leeloo, and
Yes.
the one who
You
is
can
not.
pick. We can let people pick.
Yes, and the one that you didn't pick is Jonathan, Jonte, Nathan,
Jonathan is fine. I don't
yeah,
like Jonathan.
No.
Jonathan,
Before we get
Jonath.
into you, Jonathan, Jonte, and
Mm-hmm.
your opinions on Scorpion King, which you had watched once before this, so
Mm.
you are a two-time world champion. Uh, we, this direction, me and Oscar have just watched it 27 times, which means we are officially counting down now.
Yes,
Before we've
uh,
been counting up, but now we're counting down.
yeah. It's like we've hit the apex, and now it's all downhill from here, as
Yes.
they say.
Uh, does it feel that way, Oscar?
No, it feels like it's. I was gonna say it feels like it's all uphill, but that could mean something else also. Uh, no, I feel like it's gonna get harder. It's gonna get harder and harder from now. I don't think that there will be a lot of respite to be had in the fact that there is less watches left than there have ever been. That does not console me much. I feel mostly the same about the entire thing.
Gotcha.
How do you feel about it?
I think I'm doing all right today, if I'm being honest. The watch was pretty okay.
Yeah, it was
Um,
a middling watch.
yes, and last watch was super quick. I should add, we watched the movie flipped,
Yeah,
so
it was mirrored.
mirrored horizontally, not vertically,
Mm.
which
That might be a future watch.
one could argue is another form of reversing.
Mm.
So we've sort of done two reverse watches in a row. Last time was super, it went by, felt like it was 40 minutes. This watch was okay, so I'm on a roll.
Mm.
But with that
Oh,
out of the way, let's hear what Jonathan thought about his second viewing of The Scorpion King. It has been a while since you saw it last time, I hear.
Yeah, I think I watched it when it was considered new, at which point I was definitely still very, very young. I
you
don't
were
re
also considered new at the time.
Yes.
Yes, I was considered new. Uh, I don't remember much of it. The only thing that kind of jogged my memory was the fire ant scene where
Mm.
they're stuck in the sand and just the head popping out.
Mm,
I understandably didn't put, have put much attention to the fact that it was flipped.
no.
To me, it just looked like a normal movie for the most part. But obviously, I think it's hard to recognize unless there's like text, which there were at a couple of times. But um,
I think there were two times. There was the
Yeah,
Universal logo and the
and the
Scorpion
Scorpion
King
King logo.
logo. I guess three if you counted the
Yeah, the
credits.
credits.
yeah, and it it was so like it was almost like exactly what I expected because I saw so many like new blockbuster movies during like the early 2000s, and every single one is like the same. Um, so it was very much what I expected from it. But I do want to ask, has it always been a week apart from each viewing?
Yes, it has.
Well, it hasn't been exactly 1 week
No,
space.
the days have varied a bit. Like sometimes it's
Yeah.
been on a Monday, sometimes on a Wednesday, sometimes on during the weekend.
I
But
think at some early point we watched it on a Sunday and then a Tuesday.
Yeah,
which seems unbearable. I
yes,
can't believe we ever did that.
that's uh, that's no good.
Yeah. Okay. So it's once a week. So it's not like
No,
in
it's not.
between 1 week.
It's not
No,
once every 7 days. It's once a
Mm.
week.
exactly. It's the week that matters, not the amount of days.
Yeah, I am a little bit disappointed in myself that I didn't quiz you guys more. Like I only did it once. I was like,
I'm really
what,
glad you
what's
did it
what's the
because I'm
next
so
line?
bad at quizzing being quizzed.
Because I feel like 27th viewing, there should be like there should be some sort of standard set at this point.
Yeah, you could think that.
Mm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's one of the one of the interesting aspects of this that is kind of emerging now, especially in the past the halfway point, where and I feel like especially since I was officially quizzed last time on a lot of things, that I feel like we've kind of homed in on the things that we remember clearly about like the things that we will be remembering several years from now
Mm.
if we talk about staying and like, oh, remember when he said the fire in front, and all that kind of stuff. But we will not remember like stuff that you would expect us to remember, like I can't even think of anything, but
Mm.
but yeah.
I had a thought this viewing, which has not occurred for so long. It's been months at this point.
Months since you had a thought.
Well, since this specific one,
Mm,
there sometimes other thoughts crop up as well. But in the fire in front scene, uh, when they start fighting, this is in the palace when Balthasar knocks down the door.
mm,
Uh, I thought about, when I think you should be able to know exactly what I'm talking about, Oskar. I don't think anyone else can, but
mm.
when the first thing Matthias does is he does like a downward stroke and then he blocks with the sword up like that.
Yeah,
Um, I thought about that and then I went, oh, I've always thought that this is the best sword move in the.
like the best choreographed
Yeah,
sword move.
because it looks really like elastic and fluid, and I like it, which made me think, wow, this was my favorite part of this viewing.
Hmm.
And we used to talk about what our favorite part was in a viewing, but it's
Yes,
turned
but
somewhat moot.
yeah, we stopped talking about it. I think it's kind of like it might have become this kind of like silent agreement kind of thing that we just it's really hard to have a favorite part anymore because it's mostly an exercise in dread at this point.
Yeah, I feel like it would often be my favorite part was when the credit screen appeared.
Yeah, like my favorite part was when the camel said grunted in this way instead of that way. Like we're way past the point where it's like funny to us at least to focus in on extremely trivial
Yeah.
minutia of the movie.
But
It's
with that said, since I had a favorite part and Jonathan, sorry, hasn't watched
Hmm.
this movie for a
mm,
very long time, I figured you would have a favorite part, Jonathan,
Yeah, I don't really.
or not.
I mean, that's the thing that was kind of. I don't want to say that this viewing was disappointing, but it was
You
kind of.
can say that. You can
uh,
say that it was disappointing.
absolutely, please say that.
Well, the thing was is, I know that the second movie, I know that there's a very famous like CGI part in that one, and I sort of expected that
Yeah, you thought that.
was that
Yeah,
movie. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah. So I was kind of expecting, but I know that there was one character or an actor in that movie that never appeared. So I just figured like, okay, that's not gonna happen
Yeah, so
eventually.
you were waiting for this movie to merge with The Mummy Returns.
I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I thought. Oh yeah, you were waiting for the scorpion part.
Yeah, the Scorpion
Yeah, yeah,
Dwayne.
exactly.
Um,
So that's that. I know that part because I was kind of hoping that this was kind of gonna be like a sort of The Happening or The Room kind of thing, where it was like it's such a bad movie, you could just laugh at all the stupid parts,
mm,
but there weren't no like huge stupid
No,
parts.
it
It
was
was
just
just
like an.
yeah,
Sorry, keep
it
going.
was just an early 2000s movie. Like I said, it was like it's not really bad and it's not really good. It's just kind of like a movie that you would like watch on an airplane
yeah.
going to
If
Stockholm or something.
you're a person who has watched uh, all of these episodes of the Sting of Time, which if you are, you should possibly do something else with your time. But if you are, then you will be intimately familiar with the fact that me and Oscar have discussed this very notion, which is something I kind of want to ask you now, Jonathan, which is
Hmm.
if you have heard me and Oscar talk about this movie at all, especially post the 20s or something,
Hmm.
the way we talk about this movie makes it sound like it's torture, like it's super bad. But if you
Yeah,
watch the movie, it's just, if you watch it once, it's just nothing, you know? It's just a movie,
yeah,
Yeah, it's like forgettable, but it's not like something that wow, that was the worst movie I have
yeah.
ever seen. It's
yeah.
just like a movie.
Which has made us think that maybe this whole thing, I was going to say, makes us look crazy, which it already does. But the way we talk about the movie, if anyone watches the movie, they just think we're even crazier.
Yeah. But what kind of standards do these people have?
Yeah. How
Huh?
can you have strong feelings about this movie?
This movie doesn't even have any emotion in it. How can you? And so on.
Well, that's quite an interesting thing with this concept in itself is I assume you guys just chose a movie. You chose that Scorpion King. That's the movie we're gonna watch
Yeah.
52 times in a year.
Like
Um,
I never made any
Yeah,
choice.
yeah. Oscar made zero choices.
I have never had
Well,
any say
he
in anything.
did have the choice of saying no. I asked
Yes,
him,
that was the only choice if I
should we
wanted to do
watch
it
the
or not.
Scorpion King 52 times in a row? And he
Yes,
said
and I
yes.
said yes instantly.
yeah, and that's what I mean. Like I assume, or maybe would you say there was a lot of thought that went
No,
into
there
that
was no.
decision?
Well, the thought
Zero
was,
thought.
I knew the Scorpion King existed. I knew
Hmm.
both me and Oscar had never seen it, and I knew that we had at most seen, the GIF of Dwayne smiling. The
Oh yeah,
Yeah, like in the
yeah,
that
final
yeah.
like
scene.
that was it. That was all of it that we had seen.
Hmm.
So to me, that seemed like a logical movie
Yeah,
pick, if for no other reason than that, like it's The Rock's first film, you know.
yeah, and it's just you guys still have the commitment to go through with it. You're over
Yeah,
halfway. Have you ever missed a week?
No,
no,
Oh, well,
never
there you
missed a
go.
week.
Like even though the movie is so what it is, you're still committed to it, and now you're over halfway.
it is
Yeah.
kind of funny that because um, I think if you ask us, if anyone, this is probably the first time anyone has ever given us praise for
Mm,
this. But if you were to ask us like, oh, what's keeping you going?
Mhm.
I think I'd say like, oh, well, we've done 27. Like, how, are we supposed to
yeah.
stop now? But
Yeah, like
if you went back to 17, I would have said the same thing. And if we
mm,
went back to watching a movie 11 times, that's a lot as well.
Yeah,
So it's like the
yeah. I mean,
sunk cost
exactly.
fallacy is
Sunk cost.
immense.
Yeah, I feel like it's both a matter of like sunk cost, but I've also because we have this kind of said that now, but we have discussed how what watching the movie, if we stopped now, it would be nothing because we only watching this movie 27 times isn't a thing you can like talk about,
No,
or like put it's not a feather you can put in your hat. It's but if we watch it 52 times, that's a thing. like
Yeah.
because we watched it over the course of a year basically. But the thing that's interesting to me is that uh, obviously I haven't really been enjoying it for like 99% of the time, but I have never felt that oh, we should just quit. Like
I
even
think that's a
with
lie. I think at our lowest, at least I
I don't
felt
think it's a
that
lie.
there was, because I think the question, maybe it hasn't honestly been posed, but I think there's been times where you, I have loudly complained, and there have been times where you have been basically catatonic.
Well, I was gonna say that yes, that is true, but that doesn't mean that I have wanted to quit.
Oh, okay, all
And
right.
that just means I have become catatonic. It's like I think I made this comparison. God, it feels like I'm peering into another reality now in my memory. But I've said or was I talking about something else? Never mind. Like with I have made this comparison to something before that I feel like I'm a deer waiting to die in the woods because I broke my legs or something. It's like that sort of thing. Like there isn't a off button. Like even if I know that my time on this earth is over, my function has ceased, I can't just exit the desktop. I have to wait
Hmm.
until it's over. Like that very cruel nature reality of it. I think when I in those times I've become catatonic, it has been like that. But it's not that I have oh, I wished I wish for death. I wish this was over. It's just I'm just sitting there accepting the natural reality of things.
Hmm.
So it's
Okay.
it's kind of like that.
It's an
I think it
accepting catatonic state.
Exactly.
Hmm.
I think you do make a pretty good point though, that going through with it, it makes it a thing, because if you say that I've watched The Scorpion King 28 or 27 times or wherever you guys are now, and if you were to stop, then everyone, that's not really too interesting. But if you
No.
say I watched The Scorpion King every week for a full year,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
people are going to be interested. What the fuck happened? You know?
That then it's like I think it's like the psychology of like the YouTube thumbnail thing. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I did 200 push-ups every day, and this happened to my body for a year or whatever, and then they
I,
look like half of Dwayne or
Yeah.
something.
I
So
think we're gonna be like ghouls at the end.
yeah,
I'm gonna
I
lose
watched the
my
Scorp.
hair, and you're gonna lose your beard.
I'm gonna grow hair.
We're just gonna
Uh,
be hairless rat ghouls.
But what kind of ghoul will we become a Warcraft 3 ghoul or like a or
I think the Warcraft 3 ghoul is too cool
yeah,
and
that would be
too
like
functional.
an acceptable outcome.
Yeah, at least we could like go into the woods and chop down trees.
Yeah, and like do gurgling noises and
Yeah,
stuff. So yeah, it would probably be like a boring ghoul
yeah,
kind of thing. Just ugly zombie or whatever.
yeah. Ugly zombie. There you go. You still didn't answer what your favorite part of the movie was, Jonathan.
that's because I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well,
Um,
what if you want some inspiration? What did you feel about like the amount of wrestling inspired fight scenes in the movie? Like the opening fight scene and Dwayne versus Balthazar in the camp and like that when the swords break and they just fight and like that sort of thing. Because what I've heard a lot is that everyone's like, oh, this is just like the rest. They take so many moves from like wrestling routines, and it just goes completely over my head. It just seems like, also, I mean, they're just fighting or whatever.
yeah, I think they did. If we're going to compare it to wrestling, they did commit a kind of a wrestling sin at the very end, because they've established that the bad guy's name, what is it?
Memnon. What did
Yeah,
you call him?
Yeah, what did you call it? It was so great. What you
like
called
a
him?
Bobman or something.
Yeah,
Bobman.
Bob
Bobnon or something.
Bobman, I think.
Bobman. Yeah, Bobman.
Bobman,
Exactly.
yeah. They've clearly established that he can catch arrows.
Yeah,
and then it says catch this. It's like he can catch arrows,
Yeah,
but
not
he
only can he
couldn't.
catch arrows, he can deflect them with swords.
yep. And
Yes,
he
and he
has
had
two
two
swords.
swords,
But
and he got the heads up that catch this. I'm about to shoot an
yeah,
arrow, and he couldn't do it.
I think the implication is that uh, everyone else in the world uses puny bitch-made bows,
Yeah,
and
because
Matthias' bow is really strong
Oh.
because you know the character that rides the horse and does nothing and then dies.
Hmm.
Um, he tries to pull on the bowstring and he can't.
yeah, to impress the girls at the party, like he left his bow behind and he tries to pull it, but he can't because see, he is too puny.
Ah.
So I think what they were going for is, is the implication that only Dwayne could pull this super,
Yeah,
manly bow, and the bow makes the arrow travel faster than Memnon was used to, and it's incredibly stupid.
yeah. It doesn't really. I think it
Yeah,
could work, but the fact that we caught that, I think like at watching number 8 or something,
yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't. It's a sign that it isn't working.
Mm. I think I actually remember my favorite part now is because it actually made me laugh. Is very early when he like drops a chandelier type of thing, and the guy stands above it and says, "You missed," or something like that, and then he just pulls him up by the crotch with the chandelier. That was a good scene.
Mm. Yeah, that first part of the movie is basically completely
separate.
separate
Yeah,
from the rest
it
of the movie. It also has some wrestling stuff in it. Like there's lots of like throwing, and then he does the thing. Do you remember
yeah,
where
on the
it's like a
table.
table
Exactly.
and he jumps on
Yes.
the side and it flips over on a guy? It has more interesting choreography, but it was made by a completely different team. So
Yeah, that entire like sequence, scene, etc., part of the movie was added after the rest of the movie was already done, and they
Hmm.
had shown, as done test screenings for the rest of the movie, and I guess people said, "I don't get it," or whatever test screenings
yeah,
are
I
about.
think they would presumably people, because allegedly they also reshot more action scenes, but
Yeah,
that was the only like, completely new sequence. So I assume people were going, "Oh, this is the first starring movie of The Rock," but there's no action in it.
exactly.
There was very little action in it.
It does surprise me. You said that I don't know if you were being serious, but that The Rock actually knocked someone out
Yes,
in the fight
that's
scene.
real.
That's real.
In the
Like,
fight.
did he punch? Like he missed a punch, or what was that?
Yeah, it was. If I remember right, it's in the fight between Dwayne and Matthias in the camp where they just
Dwayne and Matthias.
yeah, exactly. Dwayne and Balthazar, sorry. Where they just trash each other. Uh, they at some point when filming it, Dwayne, he's just swinging punch whatever, and instead of fake punching Michael Duncan Clark, he hits him 100% real full force, and it knocked him out. And
Yeah, I think it's the part where they're battling for the spear and he goes like this
yeah,
with the spear into
Mhm.
his face. At some point there, he knocked him out for real.
That's very surprising because as a fan of wrestling, I know that he has been throwing fake punches for at least 8 years
Mm.
before that. So
Well,
I don't
um,
know.
so M- Michael Duncan Clark, the guy from the Green Mile,
Mm.
um, that was his first action sequence, and we
Ever?
yeah ever in a movie, and
Mm.
or fight sequence maybe,
yeah,
rather
Mm.
like choreographed
like
stuff.
choreographed fight sequence.
And when we watched the director's commentary
Yeah,
for this
Oh,
movie,
you did do that. I thought you vetoed that.
uh,
no, we did it.
no, we
We
didn't.
have we have
Oh.
one left. We have the Dwayne commentary
Yeah, we
track
have one more
also.
track left.
Dreading that.
Oh, is
Um,
that? That's
so
cool.
Steven Sommers, the director, uh, he talked a lot about how he was so surprised that Michael Duncan Clark hadn't done action before, and that
Yeah,
it was so weird. and he like stressed it, and then he basically said it was his fault that he got knocked
Mm.
out. So I assume maybe that the real reason it happened was that they assumed he would be super well versed in doing stuff like that, and then they
Yeah,
didn't.
exactly.
They like Dwayne just went for it.
Yeah, it's like to say, oh, Michael Duncan Clark, he's so big and he is so well trained. He's got all this muscle and stuff. Of course he knows how to fight, like that
Yeah.
sort of prejudice thing. But yeah, so they knocked him out.
Yep.
They killed him right there. So that's how it turned out. Um,
And just the fact that, I mean, if I watched this movie like uh, maybe like 7 or 8 years ago, I think I would have been a lot more starstruck of the fact that like seeing The Rock on screen, being a fan of wrestling. But now, like, not even The Rock, but there's so many wrestling stars that have transitioned into like movies and
Mm.
Hollywood and stuff like that that it's kind of numb at this point.
yeah,
I've heard, and I'm not sure. I'm not a wrestling fan. Um,
Mhm.
I would say that we wrestling fans are somewhat rare in Sweden.
Yes.
So
I only know one
yeah,
wrestling
so
fan.
we're kind of here with an expert in a way.
Mm.
But I've read that because there is a Scorpion King 2, 3, and 4. Uh,
3 and 4. Damn.
yeah, but they don't star The Rock. The second
Mm.
one is a prequel, and then the other ones are sequels, I think. But I'm pretty sure they all star wrestlers as
Yeah,
the Scorpion King, as Matthias, from the WWE, right?
Yeah.
It's
Well,
not
let's look
WWF,
that.
it's E. And I think Ron Perlman is also the villain in one of them, which is really funny to consider.
Yeah, WWE has actually have their own. I don't know if they do anymore because I doubt it was very successful, but they actually did have their own movie studio back in the day, and they had one series called The Marine, I think.
The
Maybe it was
Marine.
12 rounds,
the
something like that.
Marine.
And they would always it was basically just like every action movie I've ever seen, but that one just went. I think they're probably up at like if they're still going, they're probably at like the Marine 9 at this point.
This sounds like one of those like cursed Swedish police,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like Johan Falk kind of thing,
The
or there's like
Marine
the
9.
Marine Nine. This time, the Marine will not be coming up for air. Something I don't know.
Yeah, but I think we've also decided to never watch the Scorpion King
Yes, we will
2,
never
3,
watch
and
those.
4.
That was
Oh,
a
sorry,
hard
there's
commandment.
5 of them, not 4. But we're not going to watch them.
I actually I acquired completely legally through the internet, of course. Uh, those movies when I got the
Mm,
Italian dub that we flushed mid part.
yeah, I
I
also
could
had these because I got it from a movie collection 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5,
yeah,
and then I deleted them.
yes, I was gonna say I was considering like I'll open one of these and just take a look, but then I just deleted them as well. I didn't want to know what they looked like.
One thing that I always find funny is that where I have the Scorpion King in the folder, it was completely legally. We own a copy of the fucking
Yeah,
Blu-ray, like whatever.
yeah, exactly.
Um, the folder is called the Scorpion King 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movie collection 2002 to 2028. And I'm not sure why.
Yeah, I
Are you
don't have
guys? Did you guys see? What did you say? You were never gonna watch Scorpion King 3 or 4, but did you watch the second one
No,
in
no
these episodes?
we
No.
no.
watched The Mummy too,
Yeah, the
which
Mummy Returns.
okay. Oh, and we watched The Mummy 2. In what order did we watch it? Did we watch Scorpion King and then Mummy 2, or the other way around?
I think we did Scorpion King first and then Mummy 2
Uh,
because I think that I might be misremembering, but I think it was like we watched Scorpion King and we had talked a bit like how, but if we're gonna have a thing where we watch the Mummy 2 afterwards, won't that be really, taxing because we're watching two movies in a row? And then I kind of thought like, that we're never gonna do that. And then you just said, oh well, now it's time to watch Mummy 2. Well, yes, I'll AFK for a bit and then just put it on. And it was, the worst experience
Yeah,
in the
it
world,
was
basically.
so horrible. The idea, I think, was that anything would be fresh air,
Yeah,
but the Mummy
and
2 was way worse than the
yes,
Scorpion
an
King.
awful movie, absolutely horrible movie, and it was so awful, like the I don't know what to say call it, but like the juxtaposition of it that you were kind of like expected this would be more like kind of a fun Indiana Jones style. Terrible movie,
Yeah.
absolutely undefendable in every
But
way.
that it wasn't even like it was so bad it's funny.
No.
No,
It
no,
was just bad. Okay.
it's like it was like a proto Marvel movie. It would fit in today to come out as like a Guardians of the Galaxy 8 or whatever,
Yeah, but
where they're in a
way
pyramid.
worse made.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
Mm.
one
I
percent
don't
less
want to
well
talk about
produced.
the
Yeah.
Mummy. It's giving me
Yeah, I
conniptions.
think the Mummy 1 is decent, but you know, I guess it didn't translate.
It didn't translate. It got lost in translation.
Yes. Maybe we'll call it here.
Yeah,
Do you
might
have
be
any
time to wrap it up.
closing words, Jonathan?
Uh, good luck with the remaining, what is it
Thank you
now,
so much, Jonathan.
25, 24 times, well, however many you got, and hopefully you'll find some sort of, because
Peace.
yeah, but I know you guys have watched like variations, like just I really hope you find something that's actually like really fun in some sort of variation, and if not, then just keep on
I
trucking.
hope you guys get to have some fun in
Yeah,
your
that's what I
lives.
mean. Like, I hope you find some way of making it like actually fun.
Would you recommend anyone to watch The Scorpion King?
Uh, maybe the people that are listening to this podcast, if they haven't, but
We've recommended them to not do
Yeah,
that
we've
for the last 27 months.
told them to
That
not watch the movie. It's not going to make this better.
yeah,
I'll be the opposing side. I say go watch it.
the opposing force.
I will not be recommending to anyone else though.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks
So
for being a guest. It has been a pleasure, a breath of fresh air.
truly,
And
uh,
we'll catch you guys the next week. Don't watch the movie.
unless you